Welcome everybody to another episode of Last Game PH. Gino Killimore, Riku Cass, Erin Ataide. That's really her last name. It's Cass.
Cass. Yeah.
If you didn't know that, now you know.
He's an Ataide. She's Cass.
She's Cass.
Yes.
Welcome to the show. We went on a little bit of a hiatus from our beloved table, but we're back now to talk about all the latest news in the gaming scene. And one of them is, when I started playing video games, there wasn't that much of a thing known as a gaming community.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's because when we started out playing video games,
There wasn't internet.
the internet wasn't as big, and forums weren't a huge deal.
We used magazines, right?
That's
For
true.
cheat codes,
And there was no real way for you to get in touch with the developers.
Yes.
If you really think
That's
about it, I mean, even in movies you see this, like. At the end of Game of Thrones, there are people like petitioning to redo the entire last season.
Right.
You give so much power to the people who are supposedly just enjoying the content.
Yes.
And the same thing can be said about video games.
Yes.
Like, because you have these forums, even like, games like StarCraft will have like forums that will link you directly to the developers where they
Yes.
can read whatever
Yeah, they
you
do
have to say.
amas.
Yeah.
I mean, there are pros and cons to it.
Yes.
Pros and cons to it.
And of course, the hub of it all, the hub of all information, and which is the biggest message board in the entire world, is Reddit.
Yeah.
And there's always
They
some
hub it
Reddits-
all.
Yeah. Maui is not happy about that stuff.
I didn't even get it, so it's
I can
okay.
pixelate your face.
Go for it! Pixel it away!
Pixelated.
Japanese!
So the Reddit.
Okay, I just got it. Okay, moving on.
The Reddit community and Instagram and Twitter, of course, are where a lot of the bigger names and even the smaller names where the community comes together and they discuss a lot of the games. So what happened over the last couple weeks was Apex Legends had the solo LTM, which promised the gold and legendary skin for Bloodhound and a lot of other things. And the community did not appreciate the fact that you ended up having to not only grind,
Right.
which I think required somewhere in the 80 to 90 hour grind to be able to,
Just to be
That's
able
insane.
but you also had to pay almost $190, $170 to be able to pay to get it.
So outside of the grinding that you have
Yes.
to do, at the end of this grind, you have to pay back.
Yes.
Wait, what? I don't get it. So you have to unlock it.
When you grind for like 90 hours, you get 2 packs, but you need
Right.
to have 10 packs to unlock everything. And to be able to unlock all of them, it was like $180.
Wait, but this is RNG packs. right?
RNG packs, yes.
That's 90-hour grind.
90
90
hours.
hour
Yeah,
grind.
For two.
For
For
2 packs.
To only-
And in the
But
pack,
you need a total of 10.
yeah, and in the pack you might get like a legendary skin for a Mozambique,
Right,
and
which
you don't necessarily get the best stuff
Yeah.
immediately. It's randomized.
Wait, hold. So that means that your 90-hour grind amounts to $10.
$10, something like
That's
that.
Because that's
crazy.
how much 90 hours is worth.
Yeah. Yeah. So the community got mad and they went straight to the Apex Reddit and they were complaining.
Right. Understandable.
The one thing that is awesome about Apex is that their official Reddit page, the developers are in it.
Right.
Which also turned out to be the worst part because the developers fired back and they were calling the people in the community freeloaders and a-holes and all of that.
So these are the people who pay for your games.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
are the people who essentially pay for the jobs that you have because they're your customers.
Yeah.
Not saying that the customer is always right.
Yes.
Yes,
Because
yes.
let's face it, there are situations where the customers are also very dumb.
Yes.
But you don't tell them that.
Yes.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, even if if you go to a call center, like, that's one of the things that, like, you'll have to be trained for. Like, even if you're so frustrated already, even if the customer is a complete dumbass, you
That's
just don't say it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's part of your job.
Although on the defense of the developer side, I really think it's understandable because again, Apex Legends is a free game.
Yes.
There's not a lot of ways to monetize unless these packs and the skins and everything. But I feel like we don't know the circumstances behind the scenes. What if they're overworked?
Yes.
What if there's some
That is a-
something
Or what
going
if,
on, right?
what if they had just, instead of letting you grind for 90 hours, just pay for the packs?
Pay straight
If
up.
you want it because it's a cosmetic thing anyway, then pay for it.
Which is pretty much what they did. So they were like, okay, we'll make it a little bit easier. Instead of doing the 90 hours, I think it only came down to about 30.
Also, they adjusted. How long did it take for them to change everything?
There was only about like 3 days left in the LTM.
Ooh.
Okay,
Yeah.
you know how like EA has always been notorious.
That's where the funny
been
part comes
notorious for
in.
this
Yeah.
kind of monetization. Like any game that goes to EA, everybody will always automatically say, "Oh, okay, this is just a cash grab.
Yes, it is.
People are gonna make money out of it." Like I remember, there was a Star Wars game that came out, Star Wars Battlefront. One of the major draws to it was that you could use Darth Vader. To be able to use him, you'd have to pay this much
Yeah.
outside of buying the actual game. So EA is not exactly a stranger to this sort
Yeah.
of thing, and let's face it, Respawn is under EA also.
Yes.
So it kind of makes sense.
Did
that
you
they
feel
would
the
do
same way when Anthem was announced?
that. With
Oh no, Anthem's gonna be like, yeah.
yeah, I kind of did, but I didn't spend enough time playing it to actually feel that, because like I got the Origin Access Pass, which
Yeah.
basically like you pay for I don't know. Like,
Oh yeah, and it
5K a
unlocks
year,
everything,
and
right?
you unlock pretty much all of the games that are on Origin.
crazy.
So I just played it. I'm not a big fan of buying cosmetic stuff unless it's a game that I'm really super
Of
into.
course.
Yeah, so I guess I didn't feel it that much, but I get where they're coming from.
Yeah.
Where okay, business side, you have to make money.
Of course.
But what I don't understand is why the need for the 90-hour grind only to unlock like 2 packs out of the 10 that you need.
Yeah. So that's one side of it. Where in the end of that, the owner of Respawn had to apologize. He went to Twitter and he said sorry. The community has not forgiven them. They're not
Still
happy.
angry.
When you call your customers dumbasses
Yeah.
and freeloaders.
So on the other side of that, the of course the one that will always be competing with Apex is Fortnite. Where Fortnite was trying to listen to their community's stats.
Okay.
Where they modified things and they put the mech, which is absolutely horrible. Now they took out turbo building, so there is a little bit of a delay when you're trying to build, because they wanted to bring the gap between players that are low ping and high ping down.
Okay, so even if your internet connection is bad, or if your internet connection is super good, you'd have that like sort
Same
of
level.
buffer.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the best part about Fortnite. I mean, you like watching pros do these amazing things, like really fast build. Like I can't even imagine how they do that. But at the same time, it turns me off as a player.
Yeah.
Because I want to go back to Fortnite, but when I come back, all of these amazing builders are just gonna.
Yeah.
So
every time I play Fortnite, I just want to build a house and people keep shooting at me. Like, I don't get it, man. Like I'm just trying to live a peaceful life.
Please save the world.
Yeah.
Please save the world.
Here I am trying to build a mansion that I can't build in real life, and then you screw it up.
Why are you playing Sims, bro? So my question is, at what point should a developer go with this intuition and say, okay, the majority of the people are complaining are the ones that we're not really catering to.
Right.
Because the ones that are complaining a lot are the ones that are spending 80 hours and instead
That's
like
true.
30 hours a week playing the game. Should you listen to the casual fan, or should you listen to the fan that is playing a lot?
See, that's where it gets tricky.
Yeah.
Because like, let's just say that you have a really, really dedicated fan base of like 20%. 20%. But you constantly want to be able to grow that, especially with games like this that have, new seasons every now and then.
Yeah.
If it's a game that, is a one-time release thing and they don't give updates and whatever, I think that you can just listen to the hardcore people who are playing it. But with things like this, like, stuff like World of Warcraft, you kind of have to listen also to the people who are coming in. Like, what do they want? Because end goal is to generate more people getting your game.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I think that's where it gets really tricky.
Yeah.
It's just how do you even, I don't know, like I honestly cannot figure it out.
But we were talking about this before, right? Like the majority of people playing are the casual players.
Yes.
And what do you call this? And
You have the
why
minority.
does this happen all the time? This is the second time I lose my thought.
You have the minority who are the hardcore gamers.
Yeah.
The majority, the casual gamers, they don't really spend for the game.
Yes.
I mean, like, if you're talking about kids,
Yes.
chances are a lot of them won't have the purchasing power to buy any of these
Yes.
things unless
Okay.
they ask their parents.
I have a story about that. So I am a big fan of this streamer. This is like a very little small fact. I'm not sure if it still exists now, but I watched this streamer. It's called Kit Boga. So what he does, he scam baits people on the call centers that do scams and get your credit cards,
Right.
credit card numbers. And what happened was this new scam business created a Fortnite scam, and they targeted kids
Oh, okay.
who has has access to their parents' credit cards.
Oh,
Right.
And it
Because
was
kids are gullible.
yeah, and they're excited for skins. It was mainly like
Yeah.
the scam was they're gonna unlock like all the skins.
Yeah.
That was the scam.
For like $10.
Actually,
Wow.
like maybe I don't know, $100 or
What?
something. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But it's all the skins.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
pretty worth if you think about it, because there's a ton of skins.
But you don't actually get it.
You don't actually get it. They just
Yeah, 'cause
get
it's
your
a scam.
credit card number. Yep.
See, I'm the way that I see it is I'm okay with developers if it's like with the whole Apex thing.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that because, like you were saying, cosmetics are one thing.
Yeah.
Listen, if you don't listen to your community when it comes to skins and cosmetics, that's fine.
Because it's still on you. Like,
Yes.
it's still.
If you don't want to buy it, it doesn't change the game.
Exactly. Like it doesn't really affect how you're gonna play,
But
right?
if
You don't need the skin to play.
unlike
Yeah.
what's happening with Fortnite, where they're listening to the community in a way that it turns off people from play, and
Yeah.
it changes the mechanics of the game. Whether
That's different.
it's because it's casual and it has its competitive. I would understand if you just had it. Okay, we'll do this only for casual.
Yes.
When you get to arenas and tournament play, it's not there. You
Yeah.
won't see a mech. You'll have regular type of building and all that. I appreciate if you would do that, but at the same time, don't call your community dumbasses.
Dumbasses.
And that's just not the way that it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
I hope that this is all saved. If not, hey, we got Borderlands 3 done.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
All right, so let us know what you guys think. If you feel that people should be siding with the developers and people should just nut up and shut up, or if you feel like the smaller people deserve a voice, and you have to cater to what we need because we're the ones who are paying for the game.
Esports people too.
Let us know.
Let us know. There you go. So for Gino, Rico, Aaron, this has been Last Game PH. We out.
Did you say not up?
Yeah.
Nut up or shut up.
Alright. Nice to know.
Oh.